Next team, guys. Let's go with the Texans. Matt, yeah.
All right. The Texans last season, 10-7, first in the division, lost in the divisional round yet again to the 1 seed, this time being Kansas City, last year being Baltimore. Their offensive EPA per play. Can you guys guess where they were? I don't think we've.
Uh, 20. Yeah, no, 17th.
21st.
Oh gosh,
Negative
darn it.
0.038, or their pass block win rate was 58%, better than I thought, 22nd. And then their run block win rate was 68%, 31st. And then their defensive EPA per play, tied for 5th with the Chargers. Their pass rush win rate was 49%. Denver Broncos had the second place, and they were 46%. That was how dominant their pass rush was with just specifically the edge guys and Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. Their run stop win rate was second, 34%. And then CJ Stroud was terrible. Negative 0.007 EPA per play, which was tied with Drake May, who his number one receiver was Demario Douglas. 42.4% success rate, which was 27th of those qualified quarterbacks, 300 snaps plus. And then their offseason, they rightfully fired OC Bobby Slowick and brought in Nick Caley from the Rams, who's kind of been bouncing around with, like, he was with the Patriots, with the Belichick era, and then went to the Rams. Never called plays. They mostly, like, the guys they kept were just extensions. Derek Stingley, of course, top of the market extension. Daniil Hunter at the time, top of the market extension. Jalen Petrie, 3 years, $39 million. That was a pretty good extension for him. He's their nickel. And then their trades, they made some moves this offseason, because they even made some maneuvers around the draft that I forgot about, but like their trades. CJ Gardner-Johnson, of course, a 5th round to 6th round swap with Kenyon Green involved. They were just done with Kenyon Green. They traded a 7th in 2026 for Christian Kirk. They traded a 2026 6th for Ed Ingram, and then obviously traded away Laramie Tunsil. They got a 4th round pick, or they got a 3rd round pick in 2025, which they used, a 7th round pick, and then a 2026 2nd and 4th. So that was kind of the meat and bones of it all. Their free agency, Cam Robinson, 1 year, $12 million. Sheldon Rankins, he was brought back, 1 year, $5 million. Darrell Taylor, 1 year, $5 million. Lincoln Tomlinson is their slotted in left guard, who's pretty terrible last year for the Seahawks, 1 year's $4 million. And then just a ton of 1 year flyers. Nick Chubb is on the list. Trent Brown's on the list. EJ Speed's on the list. Like, just any position you think of, they signed a 1 year's like veteran to see if it would work. Then their draft. They traded out of the first round. They took Jaden Higgins at the top of round 2. Of course, added all the drama with the second round picks, making Jaden Higgins' contract fully guaranteed. And what they got out of that was the 99th pick and a 2026 third. They then used the 99th pick with their own second 58 to move up to 48 to take Ariante Ursary. So basically, moving out of the first round, they got a third plus Higgins, who they probably could have taken in round 1, and Ursary, a tackle they needed. Jaden Noel and Jaden Higgins were teammates at Iowa State. That was always a fun little thing. And then they traded their own third in 2026 because they got a third from the New York Giants to get into round 4 to take Woody Marks. One pick before Jarquez Hunter. Why'd they do that, man? I didn't understand that. But yeah, they were moving like Madden, man. Like they were making trades all over the place. They were trading good players, they were trading bad players, they were trading for bad players. But overall, their biggest departures were obviously Tunsil, Stephon Diggs, and then Eric Murray, who went to the rival Jaguars. My season outlook question for them: sometimes the questions are fun and like I can flex my creative muscle. Sometimes it's the offensive line, man. And I'm not like, and my question is kind of like deliberate. Like, can the offensive line get to a level that can take them to the Super Bowl? Because the quarterback is at times transcendent. Even if last year was a down year, I'm buying CJ Stroud to be better in year 3. They have a deep group of pass catchers. They added 2 more rookies who were really, really productive, just as like Tank Dell was at Houston. They have an alpha top 10 guy in Nico Collins, and then a top 5 defense since D'Amico Ryans took the job 2 years ago. So like everything is on par to like at least make the Super Bowl. Like you look at, how the trends go, like they would be one of the teams due, but then they have this revolving door they call their offensive line. I'll give them this. They brought in 6 new players. Whether it was trade, whether it was free agency, whether it was the top 50 pick in Ariante Ursary, they made their moves. They made a ton of moves. They're going to go down swinging, and I give them that. But the antsy part is, are they going to actually get the 5 right? Like, it's still a 5. Like, I think Cam Robinson is a good left tackle, and he can be sturdy until Ariante Ursary's there. Blake Fisher was pretty good in limited time last year at right tackle. Titus Howard has 2 years left on his deal. Jarrett Patterson is young, and we'll see. Like,
He's young.
He wasn't like, he still needs to beef up. He's a small center, so like that is a big thing with him. And then like left guard, I hate left guard here. Like Drew Scruggs, man, like Drew Scruggs or Lincoln Tomlinson's going to be playing left guard for this team. I don't love that. But it's a year ago I drank the Kool-Aid with this team. I picked this team to win the Super Bowl. Frankly, I was only buying uptick with this team. And they shot me in the face, but they still made it to the same exact spot that they did the year prior. Like, that's the thing, is they continue to be in this Final Four AFC dance with, only Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar. Like, that's a good group to continue to be in, and they should continue to be in that territory. It's just, can they get the offensive line kind of right in this, like, it's kind of a retooling offensive line year? And I'll see how they attack it next year, but they don't have a ton of money next year. So that's kind of thrown in there. They can maneuver money around, every team can, but on par right now, like they only have $7 million in cap space right now. So we'll see where they go from here.
I'm with you with the offensive line. That's my biggest question.
Yeah.
Like you said, you couldn't have worded it any better for me. The one point that I want to make is after the divisional round, if you guys were listening back then, you'll know, like, I did not think this team should have lost against the Chiefs. There was not a single fiber in my body. After, I want to say, going into the fourth quarter, the Texans as a team were dominating every stat in terms of team stats, that they could have. They were winning in every single category and beating the brakes off of them in that. It was just such a slow snail game, you know what I mean? Snail race to where it's like, I mean,
Kansas
look at what they did.
Chiefs football game? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that last year was probably the most frustrating year. You guys could probably vouch for me, but like, putting it out there, like the way that they played the Chargers in the first round. You guys remember that? Like, I think we talked about it, Matt. I think you might have had a future on them. The thing is like, dude, we all looked at that team and went, oh, okay, they're not messing around. Like, they're coming to steamroll people. And then they ran into that and utterly, I would say, collapsed against the Chiefs. They should have won that game. I will die on this hill. At the end of the day, they didn't. But it's worth noting going into this season because, yes, the offensive line has changed. But look at the defense. That's my big takeaway here, right? The first thing that you think of when you see all of the departures and what has gone in, and honestly, I was influenced by it a lot. So my opinion's allowed to change here. But, I mean, that defense is still intact, if not gotten better. You know what I mean? The one big thing that hurt them towards the end of the season and is still affecting them is Tank Dell's out. And obviously they lost Stephon Diggs, but like, did they ever really have him?
They rebuilt.
You know what I mean?
They rebuilt those guys in the aggregate, getting Noel and getting Higgins.
Right. So, I mean, they have that, not to mention, I mean, like you said, they had Christian Kirk as well. I mean, that's a good fill-in while these guys develop. So, I mean, they still have pieces for CJ Stroud to, throw to. Will he have time? That's a good question.
Again, yeah, that's the thing is, I think it's overlooked. Like, the difference between 1st and 11th is massive, but also the difference between 32nd and 22nd. If they can be like, a fine below average group on the offensive line while they figure it out. What if they find the perfect 5? It's one of those things that these things have to happen. Like someone, it's either going to go great, it's going to go horrible, and even if it goes horrible, I watched it and they won 10 games. So like if it goes horrible again, I still trust the defense, I still trust the quarterback, I still trust the coach. Those are the 3 core elements of winning a championship. So it's going to be interesting to see this team.
Right. Ben?
Yeah, I'll save my thoughts, I guess, for this team once I get through my schedule prediction, my final record, and everything. But I'll say this: outside of the quarterback, I don't think there was another move in the NFL that impacted the way I had viewed a team as much as the Tunsil trade did.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Yep, I'm with you too. Yeah,
he sucked.
I didn't think
in comparison to his contract.
Yeah. I agree, but he has a long rap sheet of being one of the better tackles in all of football. So to give up on him that quickly, especially when you were going to struggle across that offensive line as much as you will, it was just very tough for me.
I think it's sell high. I think it's what good teams do.
I still think Lermy Tunsil
sell before he hits that 30 dip.
I think Lermy Tunsil has still a lot left in the tank, but that's we'll get into it.
All right, top row. I have them losing the first 2 against the Rams and Bucks, and then winning the next 2 against the Jags and Titans, and then losing to the Ravens going into a Week 6 bye. That's a rough bye week for this team. But what do you guys think?
Yes. Here we go. Finally, I'll have it right. I had this team flip-flopping. I have them winning and losing. Well, I guess vice versa, losing and winning. I have them losing against the Rams, beating the Bucks, losing against the Jaguars, beating the Titans, and then losing against the Ravens. So I have them opening up 2-5.
Okay.
I have them 2-5. I have them losing to the Rams. I have them losing to the Bucks. I have them losing to the Jaguars. I have them beating the Titans, losing to Baltimore, going into the bye week 1-4.
Yeah. All right. 2-5. Yeah. Okay. 2-3 out of 5 games. I get why. I was confused why you said that. Yeah. 2-3. Sorry.
They will beat the Seahawks. I'll even go on to say beat the Niners, lose to the Broncos, lose to the Jags. Beat the Jags. I don't know why I said that. Beat the Titans, lose to the Bills.
Yeah. I'll have them beat the Seahawks, beat the Niners, lose to the Broncos, beat the Jags and Titans, and lose to the Bills. So they're beating the teams they probably should. I kind of like the Broncos this year, but I don't think they really stand a chance against the Bills, if I'm being 100% honest.
I have them beating Seattle. I have them beating San Francisco. I have them losing to the Broncos. I have them beating the Jaguars. I have them beating the Titans. And then that game against Buffalo. This will be canon, by the way. Buffalo will go into that game 10-0, and Houston will beat them. So Thursday Night Football. Keep an eye out, Week 12. My predictions are never wrong. So.
Yeah, like the Saints a couple years ago when they went undefeated. That was crazy.
They will beat the Colts, lose to the Chiefs, beat the Cardinals, beat the Raiders, lose to the Chargers, beat the Colts. 10-7.
Okay, which is fun because I'll probably end up being the low man here. I've been losing to both the Colts and the Chiefs, beating both the Cardinals and Raiders, losing to the Chargers, beating the Colts. So I have them going 9-8. I'll let Matt say what his record is, and then I'll kind of get into my thoughts about the Texans, and I'll make it quick. But I have them going 9-8. So
I have them beating the Colts. I have them losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them beating the Raiders and Cardinals. I don't know why I flipped those. I have them losing to the Chargers. I have them losing to the Colts. I have them finishing 9-8, winning the division off a tiebreaker.
Wow. Okay, me too. I have them winning
Absolutely
the division off the tiebreaker, 9-8 against the Jags as well. I expected you to be like I don't want to say very high, but high enough on this team. I'll kind of get into my Texans of it all. The offensive line, as I said with Laremy Tunsil, scares me half to death. I mean, I think this will be like, it has a chance to be the Chicago Bears. It has a chance to be a David Carr situation. Like, that is how bad this offensive line is. That's how bad I think it could be and could get, which is not good at all. I love Nico. Again, as you can see the flag there, I've always been a Nico guy. If you guys followed me at all or the podcast throughout this entire draft process,
this is going to be I don't like Jalen Noel thing.
Wasn't very good on Noel. So him stepping in doesn't really move the needle. I do like Higgins, but I think you're searching for wide receiver 3. I think Christian Kirk is fine. I don't think he does anything. And I do think you are getting a step back from Joe Mixon. He's an older running back. So as much as, you have 2 pass catchers that I'm a fan of, and then everything else on this offense, I don't like outside of the 2 pass catchers and the quarterback. Given the defense is good, and I know this is going to be crazy coming from an Eagles fan off of the year that we just had, but also I think we're shifting away from that defense wins championship. Sorry to our close friend, Coach Tyler, but defense doesn't win champions anymore. You need at least a top 15 at the bare minimum offense, and I don't know if they're going to be able to put that out with how bad this offensive line is. As much as I really, really, really love this defense, I mean, they could finish the year the number 1 defense. There's not enough on offense to get me excited for this team.
I disagree with that. I do. I think that if, they have even a top 15 defense, you know what I mean, and then squeak their way into, even top 20 to top 15, I feel like CJ Stroud is that it factor when it comes to, late game scenarios to where he can kind of will his way into, wins and stuff like that. If the
playoffs.
Well, if the defense is keeping it close,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think that the
defense is going to be great. I don't think the question about this team is the defense. I'm going to push back.
I'm saying if the
is what I
score
really like about this team.
If the score's tight enough to where CJ can bring it within 1, you can lose that game. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Texans can still beat you in that sense. CJ is that good, but it's all a matter of, whether or not they can get to that. And if that defense doesn't live up to the expectations, then no, this team is not even going to be close to 9 wins right now. I'll be honest with you. I'd be looking at 6 or 7 wins. And it's just because I'm saying 6 to 7 wins if that defense does not meet expectations, because the offense would not be able to withstand anything either. That offensive line is not great. Trust me. I've watched teams for the last 5 years with a horrible offensive line. You can't get anything going. Even if your defense is like, hey, I got a turnover for you. Here's the ball on the 40-yard line on their side of the field. Oh, what's that? We settled for a field goal and we missed it? Or we settled for a field goal and got 3 points, but they scored 2 touchdowns this half? It's not going to work. But regardless, I'm saying if that defense can handle it and the offense can live up at least a little bit, come close to top 15 and you're good. You know what I mean? You can win games and you'll go to the playoffs, especially with this division being the way that it is. Hint, hint on my next team. But still, that's where it's at.
I'll say this. I think the 9-8 prediction that I have is much closer to their floor than it is their ceiling. Because I do think that defense is that good. I think they're going to be a top 5 defense. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if they are the number 1 defense, and we're talking about this defense the same way that we're talking about the Broncos defense this year. Again, I have no questions about that defense. They're going to be absolutely dominant. Again, we saw them play in this close playoff game, and the offense was not able to get it done when it mattered the most. If you would have told me that they were going to hold Patrick Mahomes to 23 points in a playoff game, I probably told you they would have won. But they put up 14 points.
Healthy tank gets them to the conference championship. Just telling you. We're playing hypotheticals here, so we can go in circles all day. But that's
it's not a hypothetical. Their offense could not get it done in the playoffs when it mattered.
No, I'm saying if there's a healthy tank there, they would have been in the conference championship. But I'm playing hypotheticals. That's what I'm saying. I'm we can go in circles with that all the time. I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. No, but
I think the defense could take a little step back. I think top 5 is really rich. I think they got, what was it? They got 17 games out of Daniil Hunter. Does that happen again? It's tough at 30 years old. I think Stingley had his best year as a pro. You see corner regression all the time. Kamari Lassiter walked into the NFL and was a superstar, and he can continue to ascend. But I think that the defense falls a little bit, hence 9-8. And again, like the offensive line, I again lean more towards the offensive line isn't going to be that great. More so than I think they're going to figure it out by week 5. But yeah, I think this is again another team that they're going to get complacent. And they're all going to look at each other and say, listen, we just need to get in the dance, whether it's winning 9 games or winning 12 games. Like, that's just kind of how this is once you do a few go-arounds on it. And I have them off tiebreaker getting in.
Yeah.
Biggest thing, really quick, I'm just going to add this tidbit, and then you can finish
I would add, for the Texans, for the YouTube, take every non-Texans team to win the division. I think plus 300 for every team, like plus 300, plus 320, plus 700. I just looked. I think that's an interesting like play because I do believe there's a world where like I don't think 9-8 is the floor. I think they could, you miss a few games here and there of Stroud or something like that. Like we saw how bad it can be when in his rookie year. Remember when he left with like a concussion? So that's something like that's a sneaky play if the offensive line just doesn't figure it out and Ben's right. Like this is the worst offensive line in football, which it has potential to be. Like there's a lot of rejects on this team. Taking everybody else in the division to win it, it might be worthwhile.
I was just going to add, we were talking big game about this defense. It is so, in my opinion, it's so much harder to be a good defense in this league. Like good meaning top 5, like Ben was saying, than it would be to be like a top 5 offense in a league full of extremely
quarterback is so vital.
Quarterback's so vital in a league full of offensive superstars. Like, your Justin Jeffersons, for example, like the Vikings could be a top 5 offense. You know what I mean? No matter who the quarterback is, you know what I mean? So saying that this team could be a top 5 defense in the league is kind of heavy to me. But like, I would say that if they can itch that top 10 range, because then you start kind of falling a little bit more once you get closer to top 15. And then, like you said, the difference between 22 and 30 isn't very very, very big. So like, that if they can itch that top 10, that's when you're talking like they could make a difference. And if they can finish above 500 in this division, like that's going to be huge for them down the stretch. But Ben, what you got?
Absolutely, and this is kind of where I'll leave it. I think the reason that I am so high on this defense, obviously, it stems from D'Amico and all the other pieces. I mean, they have good pieces on this defense, but it really stems from that one player. I think this time next year, if the Texans have the record for it, we will be talking about Will Anderson being the decoy.
Yeah,
I think he is that good as a pass rusher and is a top 5 run setting defensive end and is probably close to a top 5 like pass rusher. Like that is where we are getting at with Will Anderson. And I think that is a big portion as to why I like this Texans defense as much as I do, because I think Will Anderson will finish with some of the top votes for decoy, if not win it all. So
yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into. Oh, wait, one last little tidbit. The funny thing is the over/under at 9.5 wins for the Texans, and the fact that I finished 10-7 and you guys finished 9-8. We're doing it 3 for 3 this week, guys. We're killing it with the over/under. Hilarious how we're just on both sides of the spectrum here.